So if you've got any questions, please feel free to put them on the chat. So to get us going, I'd like to know your name, where you're from, and what is the #1 property investment challenge you're facing? Why are you here today? So I'm really interested to know what are some of the challenges that you're facing and what is making, attracting you to property, all right? So while you get your fingers warmed up, I'm going to start with introducing myself and telling you a little bit more about me, all right? Okay, so hold on, let me just go back a bit. So my name is Lindile, and I am the chairperson of the Stokvel. I'm a wife and mom of 3, and I am a property investor as well as a coach for those, either for individuals or groups who are interested in investing in property. You can feel free to connect with me on any of the socials. And in terms of, the background and the story as to why, we started Sakhisizwe, it is really this typical story of, a South African where I grew up in a family where, my family was involved in various types of stokvels. Old Mutual does an annual survey, and they basically say that 78% of South Africans are involved in at least one property stokvel, so which is actually quite impressive. But the challenge is most of these stokvels are either focused on, short-term consumption, such as groceries, or just rotating income, or they're used for funeral or burial purposes. Not that there's anything wrong with this, as they all have their place, but we want to change the narrative and rather focus stokvels so that they create wealth in the long run. So if you think about where our parents and our grandparents' stokvels were, if some of the funds that were saved would have been a portion of them would have been geared towards more wealth creation assets, we'll be telling a different story. It is estimated that over 50 billion rand circulates amongst the stokvel industry, but a disproportionate amount of this goes towards short-term consumption or funeral expenses and all of that, and very little is actually going towards investments and wealth creation assets. So that is why we are wanting to change the narrative and say, let us use this vehicle of stokvels, which is basically coming together and pulling our resource towards a common good, which is basically investing in investing in property as our chosen investment type. And I'll cover a bit later in the presentation in terms of why we have chosen, property as our vehicle of choice. So in terms of the team, I do not work alone. As I said, I'm the chairperson of the Stokvel. We've got Dimakatso Kabai, who's our treasurer, and we've got Gertrude Morobodi, who is our secretary. This is the core executive team. And, gentlemen, if you are on the line or you're watching on Facebook, do not be intimidated. It is not a ladies only Stokvel. We do have gentlemen who are part of the Stokvel. It is just that it so happens that the executive team is ladies only, right? So let me see if there are some introductions so far. Okay, let us see. We've got CD Bayard asking, how viable is buying RDP houses as private property portfolio? Said that folks are pressed to sell and go live with family, but seems crime or economy is forcing sales. Yeah, so that's a very loaded question so early in the presentation, Pastor Bayard, but absolutely, the whole point of having RGPs was to be able to create wealth, for our people, because, having a roof over your head is very important. And not only that, once you've got an asset such as a home, there's so much more that you can do with it. You can live in it, which is what the government wants. Or at some point, people don't want to be staying in one place. You may want to sell it or rent it out. And so when you're able to get the title deed, that's when the real wealth creation kicks in, because now you can leverage that as an asset to get access to more opportunities. So yeah, that's a bit early in the conversation for such deep conversations. Thank you, Pastor Bayard, for your contribution. But absolutely, South Africans are still, housing is still a big problem. It is a big crisis in the country. We simply do not have enough housing stock, and the government simply cannot keep up with the demand. And so creative solutions are sought in order to close, the gap between the have and the have-nots, because because everybody deserves the dignity of having a home to live in. All right, Dima or Gertrude, please can you guys assist me with just muting some of the members on the line just so we can maintain the integrity of the recording. Guys, please remember to stay on mute. So a bit of background about Sakhisizwe Property Stokvel, right? So
Seriously? Please, can you just make me on Tati co-host?
Okay. Okay, Dima, let me just find you. Okay, gotcha. Apologies about that, guys. So yeah, I was just making the team co-host so that they can help me with just muting the team, that the guys that are on the call tonight. Okay, so as I was saying that the Stokvel started in June of 2019, so we're just a little over 3 years, but in that time, you know, we've really made a lot of progress and grown tremendously. In terms of our track record, we won the 2019 SA Property Investor of the Year award winners for the most innovative category. Again, speaking to, you know, the way that we are investing in property, you know, we're using very innovative ways and getting industry recognition as, you know, serious players in the space. We've also been, you know, the recipients of one of the top SA performing property Stokvels, not just property Stokvel, but performing Stokvel overall in all categories. So another accolade from, you know, our industry peers in terms of what we are doing in that space. We've got a growing community of over 400 members and going strong. And, you know, we are the only Stokvel to collaborate with a major bank to provide home loan solutions for our members. And not only this, I'll be telling you more about what else we've been able to achieve in the space in the little time that we've been around. And we've been featured in multiple media outlets such as SABC1, ENCA, 702, Power FM, KFM, Real Estate Investor Magazine, Property Wheel, Sowetan, and many, many more. In fact, nowadays we count where we haven't been more than where we have been, because again, you know, it speaks to you know, the innovation around how we are investing in property, right? So you are here tonight. Why are you interested in investing in property? Property is one of the best building blocks for wealth creation. And so why is that important? It may be important to you because you have a family or loved ones that you want to take care of, right? So whether now or even when you've passed on, whatever the case might be. So it's important that you start thinking and planning for taking care of them, right? You want to be able to create generational wealth. You want to be able to start something that can live beyond just you, but also generationally. You may want to leave a legacy for your children. You know, so when you know, someone was once saying, I think it was a Facebook post, like, do you know your great grandparents' name, or do you know your grandfather's name? So in most cases, when you know you've got grandparents that left something for you, or great grandparents that left something for you, chances are, you know, you will remember their names. So it's very important that, you know, we start thinking about what kind of legacy are you going to leave for your children? What will your great grandchildren remember you for? Will they even remember you? You know, so you want to earn passive income. That may be another reason why you want to invest in property, and you want to secure a future for yourself. And you also want a comfortable retirement. Let's be honest, as South Africans, we don't have enough, we don't plan enough for our requirements. We underestimate what is actually required for a comfortable retirement. You know, we think we're going to be okay. And then, you know, when it's time for retirement, we realize, you know, that our pensions are just simply not enough to see us through. You know, we are living longer and longer as, you know, improvements in medicine and healthcare and the technologies around it, they're prolonging our lifestyles, but, you know, our finances can only take us so far. And we don't really want to be a burden to our families in our old age. We want to be self-sufficient, right? So what are we going to be covering in tonight's session? We're going to be covering what some of the benefits of property investing are. We're going to look at passive and versus active income. What is that? What does it mean? We're going to look at why a property stokvel. I think I've already alluded to that, but we're going to be covering that. And then we're going to be looking at telling you more about Sakhisizwe Property Stokvel, how we operate, how we invest in property and all of that. And we're going to be covering more about how to then work with us, right? Does that work for you? Let me know on the chat line if there's anything that I haven't covered in terms of what your expectations are for tonight. Let me know if there's anything else that you would like to know that has not yet been covered. Okay. All right. So why invest in property? So property is a tangible asset. It's one of those things that, you know, you can see, feel, and touch. It doesn't just go over, disappear overnight, or whatever the case might be. You can go and see it, you can live in it, you can rent it out. You know, it really is just one of those things that you see exactly where your money has gone. It's not just digital money where you're seeing just numbers on the screen, but you can physically see where your money has gone into. You know, property is one of those things that can be passed on to your children and family as an inheritance. So, you know, it is really one of the great building blocks in terms of if you want to leave something for your family that they can either live in or rent out or whatever the case might be, or continue to earn some sort of an income from, right? And then property appreciates in value over time, right? So we're talking about capital gains. So as time goes on, the value will increase over time, and therefore your value, your wealth increases. So remember, when you acquire the property, you acquire it at a particular price, but as time goes on, you know, that value increases. Property allows you to earn multiple streams of income. So you can earn multiple streams of income from property, right? For an example, you could have multiple tenants on a property. You could have different types of properties, of tenants on a property. You could do, for example, you may have a particular, let's say, for example, you've got a student accommodation. You could then provide a laundry service and charge them for the laundry. You could provide a gym and charge them for the gym. You could provide a games room, you know, and charge for the games. So it's, you know, it's possible to earn multiple streams of income from the same property. You could put a vending machine there. So all of those things would allow you to earn multiple streams of income in various ways, depending on your creativity and how you wanna do it. You may have a combination of this very same property, but you use it for different things, right? So there's no limit to earning potential with property. So there's literally no one in the whole entire world that can tell you that, you know, your maximum that you can earn in property is X, or the maximum number of properties you can have is X. Whereas, for example, in some of our jobs and other places, you know, they may tell you that, for example, for this type of job, you can only earn so much, you know, at this grade or for this level or with so many years experience or whatever the case might be. Whereas with property, there's no such thing, you know, so there's no limit to how much you can earn. And property allows you to earn a passive income, right? So what is passive income? We're going to cover that in the next slide. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of members joining tonight, which is quite exciting. I'm glad that you guys still find value in these webinars that we host. So, right, so ways of making money. The first type of the one way of making money is through active income. So active income is what most of us know, right? So this is where you exchange time for money. For example, you will have a job, and in your job, they say to you, okay, Obza, you need to work for a month, and in return, I will give you 10,000 Rand a month. Or you may find that you are earning per hour, and they will tell you that you are earning 100 Rand per hour, or 50 Rand an hour, or 500 Rand an hour, depending if you're an attorney or one of the more professions such as accountancy or whatever. You may find that you've got a higher rate per hour, you're 1,500 an hour, 2,000 Rand an hour, but you still, your value, the value of your time is still traded in monetary terms. So it's X per hour, X per week, X per month. So you are still changing. You say, I'll give you so much of my time and in return, you will give me so much money. So whether you are doing this in a job or you've got a business, if you do not show up, you cannot earn. So if you are you've got a business and you don't open on the day, it means that you don't make money. If you've got a job and you're being paid per month, you don't go to work for a month, you're not going to get paid. So if you don't show up, you don't get earned. There's a limit to how much you can earn with active income. So as I said, even if you're earning 1,000 Rand an hour, your maximum is still 24,000 Rand in a day, because that's the number of hours in a day. And honestly, no one can work for 24 hours. So there's always that cap in terms of how much money you can earn. Whereas, with property and other passive types of investments, there is no limit, because you could have different properties, different types of investments, and they can continue making money for you without you necessarily even getting off bed, right? Out of your bed to do anything or even lifting a finger. So passive income is where you don't exchange time for money. You can earn money without being physically present. So why is that important? It may be important because maybe you are interested in making money, but you've got a job that keeps you busy. So you want to still make additional income and still go to your normal traditional job, which you love and do and you're passionate about, but maybe it might not be sufficient for you. You're looking at earning more money. So that way you can have other additional income streams on top of the one that you've got, right? So that way you are accelerating your ability to create wealth, because now you're making both active and passive income. So passive income trumps active income in that you could be earning from various investments that don't require you to physically do anything, right? There's no limit to your earning potential. You could be earning different types of income. You could be earning rental income, dividends, interest, royalties, you name it. This is the type of income that there's no limit to how much you can earn. There's no limit to how many properties you can have. There's no limit to how many unit trusts you can have. There's no limit to how many shares you can have. You're only limited, by your knowledge, your skills, your time, and all of that. So that's the thing about a passive income. Also, the money that you earn can outlive you. So this is the type of income that you can pass on to your children and grandchildren. And trust me, if you leave your children with enough, your great grandchildren, they will definitely remember your name, right? So make sure that you're living the kind of cash flow that will outlive you, because the sad reality is, with a salary or with any of the other types of active income, if you don't do it, then if you don't do the job, that means that you simply do not get paid. If you don't show up for work and you haven't taken leave, you simply do not get paid. So that is one of the disadvantages of active income, which passive income allows you to earn whether you go to work or not, and you can still earn it. So property is one of those things that gives you passive income, right? Are we together in terms of that? You guys still follow, right? So passive or passive income, which one do you guys prefer? You guys are very quiet tonight. I'm worried if the chat line is broken. Usually I get a lot more engagement. So let me know from you guys, passive or active income, which one do you think, you would like to grow more of? Which one would you like to earn more of? You can just let me know on the chat line. It's fine. Okay, let's see. I think some comments lighting up. I'm starting to get worried. Sandra saying passive. Awesome, awesome. A lot of you guys really saying passive. Tseho saying passive. Louise saying passive. Nompilo saying passive. Tseho saying passive. Laura passive. Absolutely, right? So passive income is the best type of income because it doesn't rely on you having to be physically present to earn it, right? So what are some of the ways that you can invest in property profitably? And I emphasize on profitably because, you can invest in property and make a loss or not make any money. So if you are going to be investing in property, you need to understand how to make money through property. That's important, right? So how can you do that? The traditional ways of doing that. So you can, for example, through rental income, right? So you earn rental income by when you've got a property and your tenants pay a fixed amount per month, and you take out your costs from it, so you minus your costs, and then you claim the difference as your profits. Say, for example, you're renting the property for 5,000 Rand, all your expenses are 4,000 Rand, and therefore your profit is 1,000 Rand. That is one of the ways that you can make profit through rental income. And you could be renting literally anything, right? It could be offices, it could be houses, it could be student accommodation, Airbnb, a store, or a piece of land, or anything really that somebody is willing to pay money to rent from you. So these are people that don't own those assets. It is your asset. You then place a tenant there, and they then pay you a fixed amount that you've agreed on, and you then take your expenses from it, and the difference between the two is your rental income. That is how you then invest profitably in profits through rental income. So if you are having a case whereby your expenses are more than the money that you are collecting through rental income, you are making a loss, right? So which is not an asset. The asset is what puts money in your pocket, whereas a liability takes money out of your pocket. The minute you are having to add money or put money into an asset, it is now becoming a liability, right? So future resale, right? Future resale means that if you're, for example, buying a property at say 400,000 Rand, and now you're selling it for 500,000 Rand, that means that you have made yourself a profit of 100,000 Rand. So that is then the difference between the two. So, so you want to obviously make sure that when you're buying a property, at the point that you sell, there's enough growth in there to warrant you making a profit from it. So if you're selling it for less than what it's for what you bought it for, or what you bought it for, then you're obviously making a loss. So you want to make sure that you create that difference between your purchase price and what you eventually sell it for. That's one of the ways that you can make profits in property. Some people do that. They don't even bother with putting in tenants. They just buy properties. They want to buy them on the cheap and quickly sell them and make their profits and walk away. They don't want to deal with tenant dramas and all of that. So that's another perfectly a fine way of investing in property. The best of both worlds is where you have a mix of both. You buy a property, a well-priced one, and then it accumulates in value, or you force the appreciation, or you force it to increase its value, and you're still putting in tenants. Maybe once you've done some changes to the property, which allows you to earn a bit more. Therefore, now you are benefiting from higher rentals as well as a growth in the value of the property. So that is how you can have a combination of the two, right? So let's see. CDBR said it appears that passive is preferred, but one needs to be personally stimulated in daily activities too. Correct, right? So leverage the bank's money and make a positive cash flow. Norma putting in her 2 cents worth there. Absolutely. So you leverage the bank's ability, especially if you can, get access to bond bank financing. But not everybody is fortunate enough to be able to qualify, to get these home loans or to acquire these properties for cash. And that is why, vehicles such as a Stokvel then come in, because now if a property is R1 million, you don't have to qualify for the R1 million yourself, or wait until you've got R1 million in cash before you can buy it. Now you can have a group of like-minded people that say, you know what, we want to invest in this property. We each don't have the R1 million individually, but collectively we can make a plan and we can come up with that money and we can acquire the property. That is the power in terms of, being part of a collective and being able to then tackle opportunities that would not be available to you as an individual, right? So what stops then? If we've just gone through some of the ways that one can invest profitably in property, and I think you guys know that. You guys on the call here, in a way, you understand how that works, right? But there's a reason why you probably have not done this before, and some of these reasons could be you don't have time. You know, you are busy, you're a business person, you're a professional, you probably have children, you've got a significant other or loved ones to take care of, you know, you've got, you know, other hobbies and interests that are keeping you busy. You simply just don't have the time, right? So that's a very valid concern, and that is stopping you from investing. The other thing could be, you know, you don't have the money to go and invest in property, because let's be honest, investing in property is quite expensive. Buying property, just the upfront costs alone, you know, it actually makes it inaccessible to a lot of people. For example, you need to pay transfer costs, you need to pay bond registration. These are just costs that you pay for attorneys, you know, to get the property to transfer to your own name. You still have to pay to own, to acquire that property. So just the upfront costs alone, you know, could be a sizable amount that makes it inaccessible for you to acquire that property, right? And you may find that maybe you've got issues with your credit, maybe you've got a bad credit record, or you've made some mistakes in the past in terms of how you've handled your finances. And so the banks are not willing to lend you any money. And so this means that now you can't start investing in property, and you're delaying your investment goals, right? Another reason could be you just lack access to the right type of knowledge. You know, you want to do this, but you're just feeling a bit overwhelmed because you don't know where to start, and there's just so much information. And so therefore you just, you know, decide not to do anything because you are so overwhelmed, and you don't know where you should invest, which area is the right one, how do you identify it, which strategy should you use, you know, what's the right one for you, you know, and with so many properties being listed on a daily basis, which one do you know is going to make a profits for you? Excuse me. The other real thing is fear of dealing with tenants. Please excuse me 1 second, guys. A lot of people are actually have a real fear of dealing with tenants. They're like, the people are not going to pay, then they're going to squat in my house, or they're going to damage my property. So, you know, that fear paralyzes people, and they end up not moving ahead in terms of investing in property, because it's just like, yo, if I've got tenants, what if this, what if that? And that becomes a real barrier, right? And also maintenance thing, you know, tenants will call you in the middle of the night to tell you a geyser's burst, or the gate is broken, or this or that, and you have to come on board as a landlord, and you're just like, you know what, it is just simply not worth it. I don't want to deal with that headache. And those are real fears and stumbling blocks that prevent a lot of people from investing in property, right? So here's the good news, right? Is that Sakhisizwe Property Stokvel removes most of these headaches when it comes to investing in property. We remove most of these investing because now a lot of people get stuck in that, then they are delaying, they're not investing in property, and it just goes on and on. Next thing, a year goes by, then it's 2 years, then it's 3 years, and then you're looking back and you're like, but I've been working for so many years, what have I got to show for it? And you've got nothing to show for it, or you've got very little. And so now, you know, we have been there as investors, and we've been in this you know, in the Stokvel for the past 3 years, but collectively we've got a lot of investing years behind us, so we understand this. And we also make sure that, you know, we surround ourselves with the right people that help us navigate the space, right? Okay. So one of the ways that we do this is through our Sakhisizwe Owners Club. So our Owners Club is where we buy properties, right? And we find a way of adding value to them, or we buy them below market value, but we want to create that initial value from when we're acquiring the property. So it's either we'll buy it at a discount, so that if we were to sell it the next day, we'll make our profits, or alternatively, we find a way of increasing the value so that if we decide to sell the property, we will be able to make money, right? We'll then place the tenants in the property for rental income, right? And so the members are co-owners of this property and share in the income from the properties. This is done through the Sakhisizwe Trust, which is set up to become the vehicle that owns these properties that belong to the Sakhisizwe Owners Club. So the Sakhisizwe is the legal entity within which this then happens. So remember, the Stokvel is one, and then the trust is another. So where, for example, we raise the money in the Stokvel, and then once we've got sufficient funds and an opportunity is available, then those funds move over to the trust, and the trust is the legal entity that then goes and acquires the properties. So let me make an example with a property that we acquired last year in. Okay, so let me make an example with this property that we acquired last year in February, March last year. So this was a property in Potchefstroom. It's very close to the Northwest University. So it is within the radius that the Northwest University looks at when accrediting accommodation. So when you become accredited, it means that you are essentially a private accommodation provider. So remember, the universities simply cannot accommodate all the students in their on-campus residences. So they are always looking for landlords that can assist them to basically be able to deal with the overflow of students that need accommodation that they cannot provide. So when you become accredited with the university, it essentially means that the university becomes a tenant where you can basically now, instead of dealing with lots of parents, you're now dealing with the university. You're getting one payment from the university, and it just makes life so much easier that way. So just simply being accredited automatically increases the value of your property, because now you have secured the university as a tenant, right? So what we did was that we purchased this property, with the aim of providing accredited accommodation for Northwest University students. We did a bit of renovations. As you can see, this is an old photo. We closed off that garage and made additional rooms in there, and we did some partitionings inside the house as well, just so that so the living space, such as the lounge and what have you, can then accommodate additional students. So, and putting in cupboards and making sure that the furniture and all of that is according to the university's specifications. So that all came into about 500,000 rand. So remember, this was previously a normal 3-bedroom house in a very quiet town in Potchefstroom. And rental properties such as these are renting for about 8,000 rand to 9,000 rand a month. And here we were now purchasing it and renovating it and creating that forced appreciation that I was telling you about. That now this is an asset producing, it's an income producing property, right? So we basically took it from the property earning say 8,000 rand a month, and now we are able to put in 17 students in there, and the annual income at a rate of 33,000 rand per annum. So now we can actually fetch 528,000 rand of annual income from the property, versus, for example, if before it was only renting for 8,000 rand. So let me just make a quick calculation. So 8,000 over 12 months would have been 96,000 rand is what this property would have been renting for. And now it is fetching 528,000 rand a year. So that is how you then make property profits. So one is through increasing your rental income. We went from if we had just bought the property and put in another family there, we would have rented for 96,000 rand. Because we've converted it to student accommodation, we're now able to fetch a higher rental, right? And also, because now this property is now a functional student accommodation, if we were to sell it, we would no longer be selling it at the 1 million rand or the 1.5 that we put into it. We'll sell it for a little bit more, because now whoever buys it would be buying an asset that is going to make them money. They will not be buying a home within which to live in. So Sidi Bayat asking, what was the pathway to be accredited by university or TVET as a rental partner? So each university, if you go to their website, they will list what are the accreditation requirements. So each university will have its own specification. They will tell you, what radius it must be within the university in terms of the distance. They'll tell you things like, the ratios, showers to students, toilets to students, the number of microwaves to students, washing machines to students, fridges to students. So all of that will be, each university will have its own accreditation and also minimum number of students. So some will say they need a capacity for at least 10. Some will say you must be able to accommodate at least 50. So, so you need to understand what are the accreditation requirements for the institution that you are interested in. Usually this information is available on their website, but if it's not, you can contact their accommodation department and they will be able to assist you. Okay, so DS Mongale wants to get straight into it. He wants to know, like, he's sold. He's like, how much to join or invest? We're gonna get there, DS Mongale, don't you worry. I like it. Okay, you're just like, okay, guys, let's just keep it moving, keep it moving. All right, so let me just go back a bit. So that was the one property that we've got. And again, it is just to illustrate how we then make income through profits through investing in property. Okay, so this was obviously done and dusted. We completed that last year. We've got tenants in last year and this year. So what else do we have at the moment? All right, what are the current investments that we've got? So the one that we've got at the moment is we're looking at doing short-term letting. Some call it Airbnb. So this is a new development in Waterfall, and the reason why we've again selected Waterfall as an investment area is if you're familiar with Waterfall in Midrand. So Waterfall in Midrand is really growing to be one of the key business nodes within Johannesburg, competing with Sandton and Rosebank. So, some of the corporates are moving into the Waterfall area, and the Ellipse Waterfall development is the only high-rise development in the Waterfall precinct. It is also the only development where Airbnb is allowed. So, so before going and buying a property, especially in a sectional title or a complex with the intention of putting it on Airbnb, it is important that you double check that Airbnb is allowed, because you may find yourself buying a property and then you with the intention of putting it on Airbnb and then you can't. So Airbnb is allowed. So basically what that means is, we are going to have the potential of attracting business and leisure travelers into this area. And since we'll be doing short-term letting, it means that we'll be having daily short-term stay customers or clients staying in for a day, a week, 2 weeks, a month, or whatever, which means that we can charge higher rentals than we would if we were to put in a long-term stay tenant, right? So we've already secured this by paying a 25% deposit, and we are expecting this development to be completed next year, June. So we're giving ourselves the time to raise the balance of the funds by then. And so, like I said, this will have features such as having restaurants, a swimming pool, a concierge service, boardrooms, and so it's going to attract high net worth clientele, which means that we can get top dollar in terms of our rental income from this particular investment, right? So okay, yes, Norma, I just picked that up. The rental amount is correct. Thank you, sis. So yeah, it's at 10,000, it's actually 1,000, 1,000 to 1,500 rand. I just picked that up. Thanks, Norma. Okay. Our second investment is the office estate. It's an office estate in Tiger Valley. So this property is valued at 50 million rand, but it has been acquired at 22.5% below that market value. So as I was mentioning earlier, you either need to create the value by doing something to the property, or you need to buy it at a discount, so that if you sell it like the next day after acquiring, you can make profit, right? So we need about 1.5 million rand to secure a 40% ownership in this particular office estate. And this is a functioning property. It's already got tenants which have got 4-year leases, with corporate blue chip tenants. And, I think you guys, if you've been following the news around this migration into the Western Cape, this is where, a lot of businesses and people, especially after lockdown, started moving more towards the Western Cape. So the Western Cape is sort of becoming the tech and financial services hub. So, obviously with everybody moving down and moving their businesses south, the demand for office rentals is rising. And so that means that, we're always going to have good quality tenants. And again, the building is multi-tenanted, meaning that we've got more than one tenant. We like the strategy of having more than one tenant in our properties. Reason being, we always want to minimize the risk of having a single tenant in one property, because if we've got a vacancy or the one tenant doesn't pay, that means that there's no income. So whereas if we've got more than one tenant, that risk is minimized. Okay. All right, so I think I've spoken a lot. I don't know if there's any questions at this stage that you guys have. Any questions at this stage?
Hi, Slim.
Yes, hi.
We have a question in Facebook, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lihlokgonolo is asking if we have any developments in future with that we can incorporate with cryptocurrency. Incorporating cryptocurrency with Stokvel.
Yeah, good question. So for where we are right now, we've been focusing very much strongly on property. We didn't want to diversify because we want to be specialized in something. But as time goes on, we will then diversify, maybe if the appetite is there amongst the members for diversification. But at this moment, we are still very much strongly focused on property. So yeah. Okay, if there's no other question, then I'm going to move on. I think I've alluded to how there's that way of investing in property where you acquire a property and you want to obviously increase its value, or you want to increase your rentals that you are able to fetch from those properties. And I've used 3 different examples of actual investments that we're doing. One in the student accommodation, Airbnb or short-term letting, office space. So it means that we are also diversified in terms of the investments that we are entering. We're not just focusing only on student accommodation. If student accommodation for whatever reason doesn't work, we also have other investments that can carry us through. So it's important that we diversify. So, but I think you guys get that, right? So the question is it the only way to invest in property? It's what most of us know, but it is not the only way that you can invest in property. And that is why we provide different ways to invest in property, right? So this is where our Sakhisizwe Funders Club comes in, right? Our Sakhisizwe Funders Club comes in where we make money from properties that we do not own, where we fund other property investors. So in the previous cases where I've mentioned the 3 previous properties I've mentioned, this is where we want to buy or acquire a stake in that particular property. It's going to be ours. But there are instances where we do invest in property that are not ours, that we do not have an interest in acquiring, right? So this is where our Funders Club then comes in, right? Our Funders Club is where we provide funding for other property investors that need to raise money. I'll make an example, right? You saw the example that I made with the student accommodation where we had acquired a property for R1 million, and then we needed an additional 500,000 Rand. So you may find that a particular investor is in the very same predicament. They can get R1 million from the bank via a home loan or whatever, and now they need 500,000 Rand because they want to do something additional to the property. They want to do additional construction, they want to put in furniture so that they are compliant with the university's accreditation requirements or whatever. So now they've got this need for money that they don't have. So in that instance, our funders club then comes in and provides that funding, right? So we have done over 18 million Rand of these types of transactions in the past 3 years. And, we've been able to earn interest of anywhere between 10 to 20% per annum, for the various transactions. So you may ask yourself, but why would someone want to invest in a property that they don't own? And there are various reasons for that. One being, if you're not the owner, then anything that happens, such as having a vacancy or your tenants not paying or whatever, it is not your problem. Unfortunately, you still get, the funds that are due to you because this is a contractual agreement that you enter into. It's a loan. It is repayable as per the terms. It is also short-term in nature, in that you are invested for a 12-month period or so, and therefore then you get your money that you've put in. Whereas our owners club are really is for those who want to invest for the long term, who want to really build the wealth over the long period. So some people they like the short-term investment, and others are looking for more long-term investment. Okay, so what are some of the types of transactions that we've funded in the past? We've done flips. So a flip is where you buy a property with the intention of selling it, within a relatively short space of time, typically under a year, maybe around the 6-month mark. So in most cases, it is because you're buying a distressed property or a debilitated property, and you are getting it on the cheap, and you know that you can quickly fix it up and make it look nice, and then you sell it. So we've done those kinds of flip. We've invested in those. We've done developments. We've done renovation projects. We've done Airbnb, student accommodation, as well as commercial buildings. This is where other investors approach us and say, guys, I need funding for this project. And then we come on board as the funders or the financiers of that particular project. And then we are able to then, earn interest income. So those are the two investment options that we've got. It's the owners club and it's the funders club. And the question is, which one should you join? The answer is, it is up to you. You can do one or both. It is really is up to you. Okay, so what have we got? I think I've mentioned already the owners club investment opportunities that we've got. For our funders club, this is a property that is in Potchefstroom as well. It's already a functioning student accommodation. It's got 16 students, but these are private students, meaning that it's either the bursaries are paying or the parents are paying. The idea here is that the property needs to be accredited with the university and to create additional capacity. So as you can see, these 3 garages there at the back, it's wasted space, in that there is potential to make these garages into additional units, as you can see with the one on the far left. The one on the far left was also once a garage and now was converted into a unit that accommodates 2 students. But with these ones here, they can be optimized to accommodate 8 additional students. And so the funds are required in order to rezone and get the accreditation done, as well as the construction to convert these 3 garages into living units. You will remember I mentioned in our owners club, we use the very same strategy of converting garages into additional units, because this is dead space that is not being used and can be used to generate additional income. So once these units are then completed, this property will go from accommodating 16 to 24 students, which means that it will be able to generate additional income. So remember, the more people you can get onto the property, the more rental income you can make. Okay. So that's the deal that our funders club is financing. So as I said, it's in the Northwest University, and it is offering 12% per annum to the members. All right, so this is just some of the interior of the property. As I mentioned, it is already functioning as a student accommodation. As you can see, we've got a really good top of the range appliances. It's already functioning as a student accommodation with 16 students, and the funds are required for expansion purposes in preparation for the 2023 academic financial year. Okay, cool. So just a quick readiness check, you guys. Are you ready now to start earning passive income through property investments? I want to know who is ready while I check your questions. Okay. So DS Mongale is asking, can the Stokvel assist me in acquiring my own property? We don't fund individual properties for properties for members, but I mean, everything that you learn from being a member, you can use to acquire your own property. As I mentioned, we've got a very good relationship with one of the banks. So if you do need to get a home loan, we can definitely assist you from that regard, but we are not going to raise money and go and buy you a property, DS Mongale. We buy property for the group, not for the individual. And then CD Bayat saying, it seems there's a slow uptake in the last 2 weeks on the funding for the various buildings and student units. Is it then not wiser to finance one at a time to get renovation completion, or we're missing something? So the amount of money that we're able to raise in any given month, Pastor Bayard, it differs, hey, because remember, members, you know, sometimes they're just going through a bit of a rough patch, and then sometimes, you know, they are okay financially. So we're not really too worried about the slow uptake, because we understand that, you know, some months are good, some months are bad. You know, in some months we can raise R1 million, and in another month we can raise 200,000. So not overly concerned, because we understand that, you know, members have got ups and downs. Sometimes, you know, they're really all in, and sometimes, you know, especially at this time of the year, there's lots of things that are going on. So yeah, it's not a problem at all. Okay. So Rabelan is saying, yes, he's ready. Norma saying she's all in, and Zandile saying, yes, this is interesting. Okay, I'm excited that you guys are excited and you are ready to be all in. All right, so our cutoff date is, sorry?
Sorry, Slee, we have some few questions from Facebook as well. Do you have time to say? Okay, we have one from Ukita. Hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Are if people invest, do they get a share certificate, or how does the legal paperwork work?
Yes, indeed. So if you are part of the owners club, you will receive a beneficiary certificate, which is essentially the equivalent of a share certificate, because we have a trust and not a company. So a share certificate would apply if it was a company, but because we're a trust, you get a beneficiary certificate. But yes, it's got the same powers really as a share certificate. And then if you're in our funders club, you do get an investment confirmation letter that confirms, you know, the investment and all the terms and conditions and all of that. So yes, that is available. You do receive something, that paperwork in terms of the investment that you've entered into. Okay.
So one from Sisha as well. He's asking, is it possible to contribute a lump sum towards properties that Sakhisizwe intend on acquiring outside of Stokvel monthly? I'm not sure what he means. Stokvel monthly contributions.
So I'm going to get to how much you need to contribute just now. But I mean, if you've got a lump sum, then yes, absolutely, you can do so.
Okay. And then other ones I think I can sort out for.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so why invest with us, right? So we invest using a secure platform, which is Stokvel. They're an authorized FSP, which provides, you know, absolute transparency in terms of what happens with the funds, all the monies that come in, all the members have got full sight of it. You get notifications. Money that leaves, you get full sight of it. You can at any point in time, you know, log in and see exactly what's happening. We've also got a members portal where, you know, all the important documents are stored, financial information, all other relevant information around the investments that we enter into. We've got monthly meetings with the members, so you're always in the know in terms of what's going on, any issues, challenges, and all of that. So we really stay connected in that way. We've got a WhatsApp group as well, so you really become part of you know, a community in that regard, and we're always available to assist with any questions or whatever. And it really is hassle-free because we do a lot of the legwork in terms of identifying suitable property investment opportunities and doing all the due diligence. You know, if it needs our attorneys to have a look at it, we do that. And so we present the opportunities to the members, and we get the buy-in from the members when you said, okay, we've looked at this and this is why we believe that it's a great opportunity. The members give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down if they don't agree. So, you know, you really become involved in that process. We don't just make unilateral decisions. We are consultative in that regard. You know, you've got a variety of investment choices. As I mentioned, you know, you get exposure to the different asset classes, and whether you're looking for more short-term interest income or you're looking for more for long-term, you know, via our ownership club. So we've got an experienced team that we work with, us as the executives, but also the people that we surround ourselves with, from our legal team, our accounting team, our property managers, our sourcing guys who look at opportunities for us. So we know we really surround ourselves with the best of the best. Everything that we use is top notch, from, you know, using the latest technologies for the various functions within the Stokvel. We make sure that, you know, we stay innovative and connected that way. So you also get to the benefits of joining a network of like-minded people. Okay, so those are just some of the benefits of why you should join us. Okay. Okay, so one of our recent additions, as you guys know, we've got over 400 members, which means that we've got real power in terms of negotiating power when we come in as a group. So if, for example, you are on your own, as I was mentioning earlier, you know, you may find that accessing particular property opportunities becomes inaccessible. But also our real power is in where we are currently spending our money and how we can start negotiating with the service providers, the things that we use on a daily basis. And so now we're able to use our power to be able to actually negotiate better rates and get access to different opportunities. One of these is through our insurance that we've got for our members. Ne? So in that, we've got all our members probably have got car insurance, home insurance, funeral cover, and we're spending so much money on insurance, and we're not really getting anything in return for it. So now we're saying we want to have our own insurance cover where members can become a part of it, and we actually benefit from, you know, our negotiating power, and therefore we can get reduced premiums in terms of how much we are paying for certain things, and we can get better treatment as well. So if you are Slindile and you're on your own, it becomes difficult for you to negotiate. But if you're coming in, there's 400 of you or 400 of us, you know, we've got that bulk negotiating power. So this is in association with Tsuha Africa Brokers, in that now we are able to get additional income for the Stokvel as well. Now we're actually having our own insurance cover, and this is additional money that also now helps us to be able to raise money. So now we're not only relying on the contributions from the members, we're not only relying on the rental income from our properties. Now we are actually also getting additional income through the insurance premiums that we are paying that help to boost our income. So this is the real wealth creation benefits as well that we've got, in that now we've got multiple streams of income, you know, for our trust, which is where our assets sit. Now, think about it this way. If you think of the big insurance companies that provide funeral covers, whatever, I'm not going to mention names, then go and look at what some of the big buildings are and some of the malls, and look at who actually owns those buildings. So what products are they selling? They're selling funeral covers and insurances to us. And what are they doing? They're taking that money and they're going and plowing it into property. So now we can actually use the very same principle which benefits us. Now we can have our own insurance, and these insurance premiums are helping us to actually acquire more properties, if you look at it that way. So really another benefit of joining the Stokvel is that, you know, now we've got banks, we've got insurance companies saying, how can we help you guys, you know, so, and collaborating with us. Okay, so okay, any questions so far? No questions. Okay.
Well, another one from Facebook. Gita's asking, does my return on investment get diluted by how one is raising their capital? I think that's what you wanted to say. Diluted. But basically, I think you wanted to ask if basically if you are contributing 10,000 Rand, the return will be based on 10,000 Rand. So as a member, you can contribute, as a new member, you can contribute 10,000 Rand. And for current members, it's any amount that you can top up with.
Okay, sorry, Gertrude, please can you just excuse me 1 second? I think you and Dima can take that one quickly now.
Okay, no problem. Let me also see another one from Facebook. So from Mabato, what are the monthly admin fees? So there are no joining fees, there are no admin fees in the funders group especially. So when you contribute the amount you contribute in the returns, as for example, the current investment that we're going through is offers 12%. So if you want to make your quick calculations there, if you contribute 10,000 Rand, times that by 12%, and the lock-in period for this investment is 12 months. So then you would receive your capital after 12 months, including your interest, your 12% interest. So there is no joining fee that will be deducted from there and so on. So the only, I think, platform fees that you will actually come up on, it's the platform fees that we're using, the app that we're using called Stokvel. I think was actually at the page that we are on. The app that we're using is called Stokvel. So Stokvel, it's an app that is available on iOS and Android. You can get them on their website as well. On www.stokvel.mobi as well. You can create your profile. It's just like any bank app. You can do your transactions there. You can download your statements. You can see how much the contributions are standing on the app as well. We, as the executives as well, when we are withdrawing money going towards a certain investment, you will be able to see it there as well. And all the other transactions that the members are making as well there. So what we do on the app as well, we are able to pay the members through to the Stokvel wallet. So the Stokvel wallet, it's what it's like your wallet within the app, not necessarily your bank account. So we pay your funds in there, we pay your capital in there as well, and your monthly interest in there as well. So then what you can do as well, you can then move the funds from your Stokvel app wallet, meant to say, to your main details. But even the payment details are available on the app. It gives you a certain membership that is unique only to you. That membership, you use it as your reference number. So that is when, if you make payment immediately and use the reference number, it immediately then replicate or immediately show on the statements as well. So if it does not, then you have problems, Dimagata will assist you in terms of having to then allocate those funds for you.
Okay, I think Gertrude has mentioned that. And I think it's also worth mentioning that, especially in our owners club, right? So the trust operates as a business. So it's going to have income, it's going to have expenses. Expenses such as we've got staff that we need to pay, cleaners, caretakers, property managers, rates, water, electricity. So all of that, it's obviously going to be deducted from the rental income and all of that, like any other business. And then the profits are then distributed depending on what is left over. Whereas, so there's that. So any income that any money that is raised towards the owners club will go and acquire a property, and also any related expenses that go with the acquisition of the property, such as transfer costs or renovation and whatever the case might be. So I think if you are looking for more short-term, where there's not that many expenses of the income that you're putting in, the funders club is the best one for you, because then that if you're putting in 10,000 rand or whatever, then depending on what the returns are, there's very minimal deductions. That is what you will then be able to get in 12 months time, or depending on how long the investment is. So how do you then get started? We use an app. The app is called Stokvel. As I mentioned, it's an authorized FSP. You can go to their website to look at all their face compliance, FSP numbers, etc. So you can either go to www.stokvel.com or download the app. It's available on iOS and on Android. Or if you don't want another app on your phone, just use the website. They work perfectly the same. And then you would need to search for the club that you want to join. So if you search Sakhisizwe Property Stokvel, both options will appear, and then you can select the one that you're interested in, then follow the instructions of how to join, accept the TNCs, etc. And then you can make your payment. So once you've requested to join, we'll approve it, and then you can then make your payment of 10,000 rand, and which is the same for either club. So it's the minimum of 10,000 rand. And then in terms of making additional contributions, that is up to you as and when you get the funds. But the idea is that obviously you grow and contribute regularly, so that it doesn't have to be 10,000 rand. Once you're a member, you are then more than welcome to contribute by any amount. Okay, I'm going to take you guys, through just briefly through a Stokvel website, so you guys can get a feel for it. And then in terms of another question that we get is, are you, can other Stokvels invest with us? Yes, absolutely they can. So as I think Pastor Bayard was mentioning earlier around, sometimes we've got slow months, sometimes we've got very good months where we can raise over R1 million in 1 month, and some months, we're raising just, average amounts. So, and we've got a pipeline of opportunities. I think at the moment we're sitting on opportunities of about 10 million rand that need money, so of our own steam, we can only do so much. So when we are now collaborating with other Stokvels, we can now, be able to tackle bigger opportunities and better deals. So if you are in a Stokvel, it can be a grocery Stokvel, a normal savings Stokvel, an investment Stokvel, a travel Stokvel, whatever it is, and you're looking at starting to diversify and have some investment element, do reach out to us and let us see how we can work with you. And also when your Stokvel becomes a part of the Sakhisizwe network, it now is able to tap into some of the other benefits that we've got, such as, the insurance, the banking, and so anything that we are able to negotiate and secure for our members. If you're a Stokvel that is part of our network, you are then able to get access to the same opportunities, so you don't have to be doing all these wheeling and dealing that we are. You can literally just, right off the back of the work that we've done, and we are then able to tackle more opportunities that otherwise we wouldn't have capacity to do so on our own with just our own members. Yeah, so let me just see. Question from Norma asking if the insurance covers outside the country. So no, it's only for assets that are in South Africa, Norma. We don't have international coverage just yet. Zandile asking for the recording. Yeah, just drop us an email, Zandile, and we can make a plan. All right. Moving right on, in terms of if you guys are looking, to contact us or get hold of us, we are available at the Maxwell Office Park in Waterfall. You can contact us on our landline or WhatsApp or email us. And we really are looking forward to welcoming you aboard. I will then, briefly show you guys how Stokvel looks like, so you can have a sense of that. And in the meantime, you can also drop your questions that we haven't really covered in the presentation. Okay. So let me just show you guys quickly how the app looks like and works. Okay, for the website.
Baton. You Becky.
Okay, so if you're coming here and you haven't used Stokvel, or Stokvel is used by many Stokvels in the country, we're not the only one. So if you don't have a Stokvel profile yet, you will need to click on sign up and go and create your select your provide your details such as your name. Please use your proper name. Don't use like a nickname or something like that. It just makes our lives a whole lot easier. And then you put in your phone number or email address, and then you select a PIN. This is like a 4-digit PIN that obviously will make sense to you. Please keep it safe, because Stokvel works like a bank. So we pay you to your Stokvel wallet. So if an unauthorized person accesses it, they've got access to your money. So, try and select a secure PIN. Okay. So once you've created a profile, you will then be able to sign in or log in. Okay, as you can see, it's asking for OTP. This is just another way that, it makes sure that it is the right person who is accessing the account through, asking for the OTP. Okay, let's see. It's 624. Okay, that's not my PIN. That's just the one-time PIN. Okay, now we are now on the app. As you can see, this is the group. So this funds here is what belongs to the group and has been raised so far. This is my Stokvel wallet. I'm very wealthy with 3.07 rand, which I can withdraw via EFT or e-wallet. I can get my statement. So any funds, dividends, interest income is paid to you, to your Stokvel wallet. So anything that's here belongs to you. Anything that's there belongs to the members. It's like a group account. So if you come in here and you click on view, and you can look at, for an example, this is showing us that in our funders club in the past year, we've had about 7.2 million rand in this account. But obviously, like every month on the 7th, we clean this account out and we take this money and we invest it. So it just goes to show how much money we've raised in the past 12 months or so. And at the moment, we've got 72,000 rand, and it is minimal interest really that we get. It's about 3,000 rand, so which is not much. So anyway, so from the time that you become a member, you then have access to view the history. My apologies, guys. Let me just quickly take this. Gertrude, please continue.
Sorry about that, guys. Okay, sleep caught me off guard there. I'm not able to obviously scroll through since she's the one sharing the screen. But from the screen, you can just see the information that it can offer you. The bank account details will be there. Meetings, we hardly use that. We don't use that button at all. Like I mentioned earlier on, we do hold our meetings on a monthly basis. If you are a member, there's a WhatsApp group that we share all the details, or login details are there in the group. On the group statement, like I mentioned earlier, this is where now you can see all the transactions that are currently happening in the group, both in the funders and the owners. There you can download either the 30-day group statement, 60 or 90. So if you need a statement that's longer than what's on Stokvel can offer you on the app, which is 90 days, then you have to directly. You can let us know, we can arrange that, but you can then request it from Stokvel as well at info.stokvel.com. Yeah, actually a customized one. It's a new button that.
So yeah, thanks, Gertrude. So this is basically just the level of information that is available on Stokvel, right? Which is where we most of the transaction happen. You will see that there's also a notifications tab at there where you get notifications when funds come in, funds leave. You see that notification bell there at the top. You also get these via email, so it will tell you who's made a payment and all of that, so who's joined, who's left, and so you've got full visibility of that. We also have our members portal, which I was telling you guys about, and this is where, you know, we keep the information that is related to the various investments. So for example, if we're having a members meeting and you are unable to make it, we can then basically provide those recordings in the members portal, right? So if I go to this is the members portal. And let me just show you how it looks. Okay, so we'll have some of our, like for example, we've got the meetup replays or the recordings. So for example, we had a masterclass from one of the developer that we've worked with. So that's available on the portal. The March, the May, June, the August members meeting, the recordings are available there. We've got the Sakhisizwe Trust, we've got the trust deed there, we've got the 2022 annual financial statements, that's available. The property I mentioned at Chief Albert Lutuli Drive here. So there we've got the title deed, and you see here we've got like amounts. These are quotations that we were receiving, just so that the members can see, you know, some of the various works that we're doing. So these were just some of the rezoning costs that we were getting, and you know, so when we've made a payment, you know, just the payment and quotes that we're getting. And then in our owners club, you know, we've got the recording for that, the presentation, all of that is available. And you know, some of the Ellipse apartment that I mentioned, you know, here are the OTPs and all the relevant documentation that is available, right? So this is just some of the platforms that are available to you as a member to see exactly at any point in time, you know, what is going on. Okay. All right. So that is it from us, guys. Are there any questions that we may have missed? Let me just see on the chat. Yeah, guys, I think the best thing would be to just send us an email so that we don't have to search on the chat line. Just send us an email if you are requesting a copy of the recording, and we will make that available to you. Okay, so we are looking forward. If there, I think there are no questions. If there are no questions, we can then end it there. Once again, you know, this is really a wonderful opportunity if you are interested to invest in property and you want to join, you know, this movement that we are a part of, because, you know, Sakhisizwe is the leading property stokvel in the country, and we are really breaking ground. We are doing very cool projects that you want to be a part of. For example, we've helped the development in Mpumalanga. We're building roads, we're building developments. We've done so many cool things that, you know, you really want to be part of the story of Sakhisizwe, and you want to be able to invest in carefully selected, vetted investments so that, you know, we go the extra mile in terms of making sure that, you know, we seek the best of the best. But, you know, individually, we can only do so much, you know, so we need to all come together and tackle, you know, this massive inequality and this massive wealth divide that we have. And so we cannot do it on our own. We need to come together and invest together and making sure that we are securing a future, you know, for ourselves and for our children. If there are no further questions, guys, Gertrude, there's nothing on Facebook, right? We can end it there.
Temba's asking if we issue tax certificates.
No, we don't. No, we don't. But I mean, we do offer you the confirmation letters and stuff like that. So if you want to use that, then you can. So we haven't yet issued tax certificates, but it's something that we can look into. All right, if that is all, I shall release everybody to spend some time with your family and your loved ones. And we hope to see you as a member in the near future. Have an awesome evening. Good night.
Good night, everybody.